didn't expect there to be so much steam. Okay, maybe we're not doing very good. It's a good thing I'm here to explain it all to you. And we've completed 2 books. Not too bad. Ouch. Good morning and welcome to day 1 of the TBR marathon. I don't actually have an order that I'm planning on going through everything this time around. That may or may not change, but I do know that I want to start off with one of my NetGalley audiobook arcs. So I will be starting with The Poisons We Drink by Bethany Baptiste. I have already pre-ordered this book, but it's not going to come until later this month. Sorry, Kiwi's coming to say hi. And the NetGalley audiobook access ends tomorrow. So I do want to try and make sure that I listen to it before I can't and leave my review sooner rather than later. So that is priority numero uno. What do you think, Kiwi? That's a good idea? Yes, I think she agrees. Hi, hello, quick update time. So I ended up starting The Poisons We Drink. I'm about 15% into this audiobook, and it started off with the note from the author about trigger warnings and holding off if you're not in the right mental state for that. And I really appreciate that. And I also super love the fact that the author dedicated the book to her haters, who specifically motivated her to finish the book out of spite. Love that. Friggin' hilarious. Also, in general, I feel like the setup and the world is pretty strong, and I really feel like I'm there. It's super believable, it's super realistic, and it's kind of depressing. Like, not gonna lie, you've got discrimination against witches, and that shows up in various different ways. And then we have our main character who has several magical things that she's dealing with, along with different things within her family that she's dealing with, which are all very stressful and upsetting for me. It's really well done, but like, I don't know if I'm in the right mental space. Especially because I've been sad girling on my own. I don't need anything added to it, if I'm being honest with you. Hello. Okay, so we are on day 2 of the marathon, and the marathoning this time really is not marathoning. We have not completed a single book, but I am making progress on The Poisons We Drink. And ooh, this one has been a struggle, but I am just so drawn towards it because it's so well done. And even though sad me ain't happy with all of the feelings, I am invested. I'm super invested. So far, this book is engaging, it's gripping, it's well done. There's so much going on, and I'm feeling a lot of emotions. Like, a lot of emotions. So I'm currently 75% into it. So hopefully we'll be able to finish this in the next couple of hours, and then we can start down romance road, because I feel like that is how we're going to get all of our books done and all of the points for this marathon. Because yeah, your girl is struggling otherwise. Fortunately, the day is still kind of young, so I think we can complete at least 2 books tonight, maybe even 3. If the next ones are a lot quicker, we'll see. Okay, hi, hello. So, it's much later and I have updates for my reading. I have finished The Poisons We Drink, and I ended up loving it. I ended up writing out my little review on Goodreads. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it, especially because it wasn't necessarily the easiest book to get through. It does touch on tough topics. There's fantasy discrimination. You have unlikable characters making hard decisions. There's different relationship drama and just all kinds of stuff, mostly familial, and it was just a lot. It was a little too real at times, but I feel like it was well done. I was constantly impressed by how real the world felt and how I really felt like I was there, and that these rules existed. Some of them, I will say, I didn't feel as much at all of the moments, but like they were reminded enough for me to be like, oh yeah, this was the thing that they had mentioned. I just feel like everything was just so solidly there. So I ended up really liking it. 5 stars. I would recommend, but you know, check trigger warnings and like be a little careful with yourself. But fortunately, I got through it. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I read it. I have, as I suggested, switched over to romance. We need something a little bit more light, comfy, fluffy, easy. And so I started Book Lovers by Emily Henry, and I'm only a couple chapters into it, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's just the setup. Not much has happened, but we've had a like email back and forth between the 2 love interests, and I was eating it up. So I'm smiling, I'm giggling, I'm here for it. It is kind of a chunker, which I wasn't expecting considering I wanted something kind of quick to read, and the font's really small. But I am listening to the audiobook, so I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get through most of this, if not all of it tonight. But at least we finished 1 book so far, so I'm feeling a lot better than I was earlier. We're still not making nearly as much progress as I would like for it being day 2 of the marathon, but you know, it's the work week. Hopefully once we hit the weekend, I'll be able to make a lot more progress, you know, trying to do all of this around my 9-to-5 job. Doesn't always work out as well as I would like. Like, gotta give myself a little bit of grace. But I do think we're doing pretty good, and I am excited to continue this. So let's, I guess, just get into it, and I'll let you know when I'm done. It's a plan. Okay, hi, hello. I have just finished Book Lovers by Emily Henry, and I ended up really liking it in the beginning, and then we kind of got to a part where I was like, this is a little cheesy. And then I ended up liking it again, and then some more, and then some more, and overall, I had a really good time. This was enjoyable. I see why people like it so much. It was a little cheesy here and there, but I liked it more than not, and like really got into it, liked the banter, liked all the clever lines. It was funny, it was cute, it was nice. I really liked it. Like, I really liked it. So, day 2, and we've completed 2 books. Not too bad, not too shabby. We're still gonna read some more romances, and then we'll probably sprinkle in some other stuff in between. Anyway, it is very late now, so I'm gonna go to bed, and I'm gonna catch you in the morning. Good morning. So it is day 3 of the TBR Marathon Challenge, and we are making progress. Thank goodness. So this morning I started and finished Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher, and I ate this up. Like, this is 5-star, fun times, perfect for me, loved everything about it. Like, I'm surprised more people aren't raving about it. I've heard people say that they like it in an offhanded kind of way, just all like, oh yeah, cozy fantasy. This one also works. No, this is great. This is so good. I loved the characters. I loved the chemistry. I loved the dual perspectives. I loved the humor. There was so much humor. I really enjoyed the main character, who was very chatty and just sweet and totally oblivious in certain ways, and she just constantly asked questions that got on people's nerves, but she had such a big heart, and it was just... Now, I will say there were a couple of moments that were very frustrating for me, and I was like so into it until we got to our little like climax moment, and then I was just kind of annoyed that it took that direction, and then I got really into it again, and I'm super happy, and then it ended, and I was like, wait, no, I need more! And so that's where I'm at right now. Yeah, I'm also, what is it with me picking these fat books? Trying to read through my TBR, and I go for the biggest ones first. Yeah, I'm surprised I got through this so quickly. Yeah, it was a fun time. I'm now like, I need to read more stuff from T. Kingfisher. Really like their fantasy writing. Like, it was just, it was so charming. There were pretty high stakes right off the bat. So our main character, it starts off with her getting an inheritance and basically being locked up by her distant relatives as they are going to try and force her into marriage so that they can get the money for themselves. And she's like, I can't do that. So she saw like the only way out of this scenario is for me to end my life, and then at least the money will go to somebody else more important, because she already had wills in place and it would go to her nieces. And so that was her thought process. And when she goes to try and do this, she unleashes the man within the sword. And it was just, it was so fun. It was so great. Immediately loved it. I loved everything. I'm gushing over this so much because I adored this. I adored this. Like, I had a feeling I would like it, but I didn't realize this would be like a new favorite. This was amazing. This was so good. I want more of this, and I know it's not easy to just like make that happen, but definitely a big fan. Big fan. I guess that means it is time for us to figure out what we should read next. Yesterday it looked like I was thinking of doing a little bit of a tougher one. So this is Sky Falling. This is also supposed to be a romance, but I think it's more fiction, just like general fiction, than it is romance, which is why I'm a little bit hesitant. But we do have an older woman who, when she was very young, sold some of her eggs to make money, and then many years later, as she's still kind of free-spirited and all on her own, she ends up going back to her hometown where some of this happens, and a young girl who apparently was a child of one of these eggs ends up finding her, and there ends up being, you know, familial relationships built along with a romantic one. And it should be sweet, but I imagine it might be a little bit more heavy hitting. And so excited, but also a little hesitant. A little hesitant, if I'm being honest. But I figured I could go with something like this and then follow it up immediately with another cheesy, lighthearted romance. That is my current plan for things. We will see how it goes though, and I will give you an update when I'm further along into something and have updates to give you. Like, that's how it works. I don't know why I'm telling you the obvious. You know, that's how these work. I will tell you about the book when I read more about the book. It's a good thing I'm here to explain it all to you. All right, I'm gonna stop now. Thank you guys. Okay, so here are the 3 books that I've read so far. I am currently reading Sky Falling, and I also have Island Witch on my Kindle. This is another NetGalley similar to this one, so I don't have the physical books for those 2. I do also have this one and this one on the schedule for the marathon. So I'm hoping to read those, and probably also this one as well. Problem is, I have these 3 books here, which I don't have the covers for. And this one, which I do have the cover for, but I haven't actually put it in book format. So I need to print out some more covers so I can have the mini books for all of the books on my TBR for the marathon. Yes, that's what we're getting at. And then I do have mini books for some extra books, which will get me to gold if I finish them. So right now we're in a good spot. We have these 3 done. We're working on our 4th one. And then that means we have these 4 and then 4 more that I need to make. Okay, maybe we're not doing very good. Because we've only finished 3, and that means we have 9 more to do. Okay, based off of my notes, it looks like I only have 7 more to go. So that's not as bad. If I want to get to gold, I have to read 13 or more books. And they first have to be my TBR books, then they could be extra after that. But yeah, this is where we're at right now. And this is where we need to get to. Lots to go. Okay, we are going to get puzzle to do with the family. Oh, sweet. I'm feeling that's just like the... Okay, hi, hello. It is the next day of the marathon. It is really late. I'm super tired, but I do have updates. Today, and I guess technically yesterday, was successful, which you know a little bit of. I did end up finishing Sky Falling last night, and this one was interesting. I really enjoyed it, specifically because I really liked the narrator's voice. I thought she was witty and funny in a way that made her enjoyable to hear from her perspective, even though she was a little bit annoying. She was a likable, unlikable character. I was correct by the story. I ended up really liking it. Then today I thought it would be good to start off with something a little bit different, so I ended up going with You're Invited by Amanda Jayatisa. And this was interesting because I could care less, right? In the beginning of this, I was all like, I don't know why I'm supposed to care. We've got this character who seems to be super jealous of her ex-best friend and is obsessive and is, you know, like, we're questioning all of these things and we're setting this up and there's this wedding that's supposed to happen and, you know, there's obviously some kind of weird things about it and there seems to be, like, right, all of this stuff happens, and then perhaps maybe at the halfway point it starts getting interesting, and I'm like, okay, like, I knew things weren't going to go in, you know, the way that we were expecting, but I didn't know what to expect. Anyway, it became interesting, and in the end I ended up really liking it. But because, like, the first half, I was like, this is just a basic, boring thriller situation, it's hard for me to want to give it high ratings, even though I really loved where it went. So, I don't know. I don't know 100% how I feel about this, because the beginning was, like, arguably a 2-star, because it was just so boring and I just didn't care. But then the ending was, like, a high 4-star. So, I don't know. I guess middle of the road regardless. So after that, I ended up going to cheesy, steamy romance with Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. This is my second Tessa Bailey, I think. And both books that I've read so far, I think the other one was Love Her or Lose Her. Both of them, the steam factor in her books are, like, pretty intense. Like, I almost felt like every 2 seconds they were getting it on somehow. And I was all like, I didn't expect there to be so much steam. But yeah, it was enjoyable. I had a good time. I liked the scenario. I liked the characters. It was a fun time. In the future, I'll just try and be more aware of that when I pick up Tessa Bailey books moving forward. Ouch. Okay. And then the last book that I started and I'm like 70% into is Unravel the Dusk, which is the final book in the Spin the Dawn duology. And I'm enjoying this. I really like Elizabeth Slim's writing. I will say this one isn't as gripping as some of the other books. There's been a couple of moments where I'm all like, all right, like we can just solve it, right, and move on. Which is a little frustrating because in general I am enjoying it, but yeah, I guess part of me is ready to move on to the next story, so I'm not enjoying it as much as I would like. So when I think about it, I'm enjoying it, but there's just a part of me that's disconnected. So hopefully tomorrow I will be more in the mood, I guess, and I'll be able to like really get into this because I do really like her writing, and that's where we're at so far. I do still have my bestie books, and then I also have these books and a couple of other books. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do next. Okay, but seriously now, I need to go to bed. I will catch you later. Good night. It is Friday, and I don't know how much sense I was making last night. It was super late. It was a time. It was a mess. I don't even know. But I have made some progress this morning. I did start Love Unscripted by Owen Nicholas, and this I am reading for the besties, and I feel really bad because I did a bunch of updates for them already. I got 144 pages into it and I'm DNFing. I was gonna push through until I realized that I wasn't even halfway into it at that point, and I was so over it. Like, I was so not enjoying myself. And so I know this can totally be for other people, but it's not for me. This is a story about a man who works as a like projectionist or something like that at an old cinematography theater. And so he does the old film, you know, splicing, setting up, and all of that stuff. And it talks about the several years prior where he met his girlfriend, who he has now just broken up with. So we're going back and forth between the timelines and trying to figure out what happened before and what's happening now at the same time as like basically his life is starting to like crumble and fall apart. And his narration voice is just like very boring and kind of annoying, and then I'm just not really a fan of him or what's going on. I kind of find him a little bit redeeming, but for the most part it was just very dry and boring, and I just wasn't interested in it at all. And so kind of a bummer. Since then, I did continue John Crow's Devil by Marlon James. I'm a little less than halfway through this. This has been very slow going as I am annotating it. And even though I keep being all like, oh, let me just try and make a bunch of progress, it's hard not to annotate and analyze. This is a story about a small village in Jamaica right before TVs were a big thing. They originally had a drunk pastor who one day gets kicked out of the church when a man who calls himself the apostle comes and kind of takes over. And it's pretty much a battle between the pastor and the apostle and the people in between. And it's very much, you know, different conversations on religion and, you know, other social and cultural things. And part of it is told in the Patois dialect, the Jamaican dialect, while other parts are told in typical English European way. And it's been interesting. I don't know how I feel about it yet because I don't necessarily love the general premise, but I'm very much invested and interested in seeing where things go. There have been moments that I have enjoyed, mostly the kind of cultural aspects, because as I've mentioned, I really like things that explore different Jamaican beliefs, even though I don't necessarily agree with all of them because they're not all very inclusive. But I don't know, I just love the dialect, the conversations, just like hearing different people and kind of just getting a little bit of taste of that culture. And so that part has been interesting, but I'm not sure yet what the point is, even though I am enjoying the act of analyzing the book, not 100% consuming. If I didn't have it in my head to analyze his books in general, I don't know how much I would enjoy it. Especially, I feel like could be considered just like really boring and like, what's the point? But sitting down, highlighting, engaging with, and then also, like I said, having the dialects pop in here and there has been enjoyable to me. And in general, I like his writing, even though this is a toned down version of what I've gotten in some of his other books, which I also haven't completed. So I am hoping to finish this, and I might try and see if I can make a dent in it today before I continue with some of my other books and make progress on other things. So that's where I'm at right now. Shoot, today is going by so fast. Very tired. Okay, hi, hello. It is currently Saturday. We have 2 more days left of the marathon, and I have updates. So I think I may have already mentioned that I started Love Unscripted. I had to give it a pass. So I will get a point for the card, but not for completing the book. Then today, because I knew I wanted to make progress on some things, I decided to read a couple of my 24 books to read in 2024. I have 2 graphic novels on that list, starting with Fangs by Sarah Anderson. And this is a cute graphic novel about a vampire falling for a werewolf. And it's not a full story. It's like told in little moments between them. And it's really adorable, really simple. The art is super simple and cute, and I ended up really loving it. It was a cute, fun time. After that, I ended up picking up Nimona, which is another 24 books to read in 2024, and I also really love this. I understand now why you guys were like, oh, cute, ha 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 ha. I get it, loved it. Absolutely adored it. And then lastly, I finished my first book by Marlon James. This is John Crow's Devil. And this was a wild ride, and I definitely wouldn't recommend this to everybody. I would suggest checking the trigger warnings. It was intense, and I was very confused for a lot of it. It does have the Jamaican dialect, which I really enjoyed, but the topics were really hard, and there were a lot of just like really horrible stuff that happened. But I ended up really liking it in the end, even though it ended the way it did. So yeah, I don't know how to recommend or not recommend this, because I 100% will tell you this is not for everyone. This was a tough read. It was confusing. It was intense. It was terrible. But if that sounds like your bag, then I would recommend giving it a shot. Good morning, hello. Time for my final update for this video. I did complete 2 more books through the week. I ended up finishing Unravel the Dusk, the final in the duology for Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim, and I really enjoyed it. I like her lighting. I like her writing, and I will say I felt a little meh compared to the first book in the series and the Six Crimson Crane trilogy. I guess it's also a duology, but there's a prequel now. Not my favorite of all of her books, but I still really like the storytelling. I like the general writing. I was interested, but I just wasn't as invested as I have been in some of her other work. But I still liked it. Like, this was still a good time. I'm still happy that I read it, and I'm glad that I finished the series. So yeah, I can't say I remember too much about it, because now that I'm giving you this update, it's been a little while since I read it. I do remember enjoying it in general. I did also read Rebel by Beverly Jenkins. I was just looking for something a little easy. because admittedly, this week was a struggle trying to be productive and read a lot. So after not getting through all of the TBR picks that I had wanted to, I was like, you know what, let's just pick something random and listen to the audiobook and relax. And this did a great job with it. It is a historical romance featuring Black characters, and our main character is a teacher, and this is right after the emancipation, and so she's trying to teach Black folks how to read, write, basic whatever, but there's not a lot of funding for that, and so she ends up at this little school that's being taught outside of a shed of some sort, I believe, and something ends up happening and she loses access to that space along with a bunch of other stuff, and she kind of gets pulled into this wealthy family's life and ends up engaging and interacting with this pirate. And she is betrothed to her best friend, even though there is no love between them. And so she's finding that she is very interested and romantically inclined towards this other man, but she is already set to be married to somebody else. And so it's fighting with that. There were some things that were super cheesy. Also, I was listening to the audiobook, and the fact that he kept calling himself a pirate and that he was French, I don't know, for some reason it just came off really cheesy and awkward for me, and I don't know if it was just the delivery or the fact that I was listening to the audiobook and not reading it with my eyes, but I still enjoyed it. It was a great way to pass the time. That being said, for the marathon, first off, I intended this video to go way differently, but it didn't work out. And then because all of the cool things that I wanted to do didn't pan out, I wasn't even gonna post this video. And then I was looking through it and I was like, actually, it's pretty good. So I might as well do it. But hopefully in the future, we'll be able to do some cool things. I had planned a whole ranking system. So if I read 8 through 10 of the TBR books, I would get bronze. If I read 10 to 12 books, I could get silver. And if I read 13 or more books, I would get gold. Our final results is 11 books, which means that I'm in silver place. I was not able to get gold. I didn't finish what I wanted to achieve, but I did pretty friggin' well. So pat on the back. Hopefully this was still fun and you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know down below. Let me know if you would like to see future TBR marathons. I am hoping to do like a whole thing and have like a map that we run and all of that stuff. If you're interested in that, let me know. Otherwise, I will catch you in the next video. Until then, bye!